Hare Krishna, dear devotee, welcome to you in our Sunday feast program, and we are at ISKCON Malmö. So, we have Mataji who is going to lead the program. Hare Krishna.
Okay, I need a small carpet. I have a small carpet. Thank you.
Yes,
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Haskyathari Shatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Askyathari Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Panchattva, Jaya Panchattva, Jaya Panchattva, Jaya Panchattva, Panchattva, Jaya Panchattva, Jaya Panchattva, Jaya Panchattva. Jaya Gandharika Giridhari, Gandharika Giridhari, Gandharika Giridhari, Gandharika Giridhari. Giridhari, Gandharika Giridhari, Gandharika Giridhari, Gandharika Giridhari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Pavikachara Astatara, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnupada Krishna Prastam Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami. Oj. Okej. Ja, vill du sjunga lite? Okej. Ja. Okej. Okej. Jag tänkte bara be dig. Jag har lite känsliga öron. Kanske du har ganska stora katres för så litet rum. Kunde du dämpa lite eller ta ett par mindre? Är det okej? Ta inte illa upp.
Ekar de här dina öron?
Nej, de är så tunga och stora. Okay. Det blir stort ljud i ett litet rum liksom. De är för stora tempel. Ja, precis. Sorry? Mataji will continue singing for a while. Is that okay? Yeah, I'm sorry, I was not telling you. Okej, de siktar in på dig nu. Vi får se hur det Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Actually, I was thinking that maybe I could even remain here because my plan was for today, if you all agree, that my Bhagavad Gita reading will be that I picked a verse, is a very long purport, but very essential and very, something that we can learn something from. Prabhupada's purport. It is about 3 pages long. So I was thinking we could have a little interactive, that I start off by reading the verse, the translation, the Sanskrit, and a short passage from the text. And then you can all read a passage from these few pages purport, because it is explaining different concepts which are in the verse, the purport. So I hope some of you are willing to read the text, like the Prabhupada's purport, and take turns. So we could be like a circle. We are already practically sitting in a circle. So I could even remain where I am. I don't have to move there.
Maybe flytta ut.
Yeah. Så vill du komma in in i cirkeln?
Ta den stolen.
Ja.
Man kan sitta i soffan.
Ja, du skulle kunna sitta här.
Nej, men det kommer en
Eller,
man.
han ska också komma in, ja.
Så Serina kan sitta i den.
Eller där, men ja, kanske där blir en bra plats till dig. Och Hare Krishna. Serina, här är stor till dig. Yeah. And I would need the Bhagavad Gita.
Emma, du måste sjunga sen efter du ska nya
Jag tänkte du skulle ha några att sjunga med, en liten bhajan-grupp. En liten, alltså om det finns något mer, om vi får be till Krishna så kommer det dyka upp. Thank you very much.
Så du ska leave every time.
Blir det här bra? Som Ashta kan fortfarande komma igenom ifall det dyker upp någon 10 och så ska vi ha Okej, där har vi den. I will start with these prayers. Because actually, I don't know, you may be used to sing Jaya Radha Madhava, but I can inform you that, like at the Alnvik temple and other temples where I've been, we used to sing the Jaya Radha Madhava in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Not necessarily the Bhagavad Gita class. So it's okay if I start with the prayers and we will later sing again. Om Agyanti Brandasya Gyananyara Shalakaya Shakshurmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. I can actually read the translation because most of us, we can't understand the Sanskrit. So these two verses go like this in English. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raguta Tanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savatutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadada, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Shri Krishna, along with their associates Shri Lalita and Vishaka. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Oh my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavareshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vansha Karpatrubhascha Kripa Sinyuba Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, and like desire trees, they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. I offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasa and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I have chosen a verse, chapter 10, and it's like a double verse, verses 4 and 5. Buddhi Jnanam Asammoha Kshama Satyam Damas Shamaha Sukham Dukkam Bhavo Bhavo Bhayam Bhayam Evacha Ahimsa Samata Tushti Stapodanam Yasho Yashaha Bhavanti Bhava Bhutanam Mattaeva Pritakvidaha. Translation is intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. I will start reading the purport, and then I will hand over the book so you can all continue reading one passage each, those of you who want to read. So, purport. The different qualities of living entities, be they good or bad, are all created by Krishna, and they are described here. Intelligence refers to the power to analyze things in their proper perspective, and knowledge refers to understanding what is spirit and what is matter. Ordinary knowledge obtained by a university education pertains only to matter, and it is not accepted here as knowledge. Knowledge means knowing the distinction between spirit and matter. In modern education, there is no knowledge about spirit. They are simply taking care of the material elements and bodily needs. Therefore, academic knowledge is not complete. So I will stop reading here, and then come different passages where it's like 21 different qualities which are described in this verse, and Prabhupada is elaborating on all of them and explaining. So you can choose how much you want to read from each, like how long passage you want to read, and then hand the book to the next one. And we see how the time is going, but I have also prepared to speak about something at the end, because Prabhupada is explaining here in his purport at the end that one who engages in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities as arranged by the Supreme Lord. And these, there are 9 processes of devotional service. So, and these processes of devotional service are given examples in the scriptures of 9 saintly person in the history of the devotees in the world, and even long time ago, and how they performed these devotional services to perfection. But I come back to that later, because it is a long purport, and I would like to, if we go this way. So the next one is asammoha. Prabhupada is explaining what that means.
Okay. Så kommer det nästa.
Yeah, you can choose how long you want to read, and you show the next one. And yeah.
So asammoha, freedom from doubt and delusion, can be achieved when one is not hesitant and when he understands the transcendental philosophy. Slowly but surely he becomes free from bewilderment. Nothing should be accepted blindly. Everything should be accepted with care and with caution. Ksama, tolerance and forgiveness, should be practiced. One should be tolerant and excuse the minor offenses of others. Satyam, truthfulness, means that facts should be presented as they are for the benefit of others. Facts should not be misrepresented. According to social conventions, it is said that one can speak the truth only when it is palatable to others. But that is not truthfulness. The truth should be spoken in a straightforward way so that others will understand actually what the facts are. If a man is a thief and people are warned that he is a thief, that is truth. Although sometimes the truth is unpalatable, one should not refrain from speaking it. Truthfulness demands that the facts be presented as they are for the benefit of others. That is the definition of truth. No, men du pratar engelska jättebra.
Om jag kan titta in på det. Så att det var utan gräs.
Vill du låna?
Jag kan prova.
Se om du kan prova.
Okay.
Control of the sense means that the sense should not be used for unnecessary personal enjoyment. There is no probability against meeting the proper needs of the senses, but a necessary sense enjoyment is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Therefore, the sense should be restrained from unnecessary use. Similarly, one should restrain the mind from unnecessary thoughts, that it is called sama. One should not spend one's time pondering over earning money, that it is not misuse of the thinking power. The mind should be used to understand the prime necessity of human beings, and that should be presented authoritatively. The power of the thought should be developed in association with persons who are authority in the scripture, saintly persons and spiritual master, and those whose thinking is highly developed. Sukham, pleasure of happiness, should always be in that which is favorable for the cultivation of the spiritual knowledge of Krishna consciousness, and similarity that which is painful or which causes distress in that which is unfavorable of the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Anything favorable, yeah, for the development of Krishna consciousness should be accepted, and anything unfavorably should be rejected. Yeah, thank you. Here. Yeah. Oh my God, so deep. So.
Speaker.
No.
Bhava, birth should be understood to refer to the body. As far as the soul is concerned, there is neither birth nor death. That we have discussed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Birth and death apply to one's embodiment in the material world. Fear is due to worrying about the future. A person is Krishna conscious has no fear because by his activities he is sure to go back to the spiritual sky, back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, his future is very bright. Others, however, do not know what their future holds. They have no knowledge of what the next life holds. So they are therefore is in constant anxiety. If we want to get free from anxiety, then the best course is to understand Krishna and be situated always in Krishna consciousness. In that way, we will be free from all fear. In the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is stated Bhagvam Divya Bhivanya Satyam Satya. Fear is conscious by our absorption in the illusory injury. But these who are free from the illusory injury, those who are confident that they are not the material body, that they are the spiritual parts of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, and we who are therefore engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Godhead, have nothing to fear. Their future is very bright. This is the conditioned person who are not in Krishna conscious. Abhyutanam, fearness, is possible only for one in Krishna consciousness. Despair. नीचे का बोले
Yeah, non-violence means one should not do anything which will put other into misery and confusion. Material activities that are promised by so many politicians, psychologists, philanthropists, etc. do not produce a very good result because the politicians and philanthropists have no transcendental vision. They do not know what is actually beneficial for the human society. Ahimsa means the people should be trained in such a way that the full utilization of the human body can be achieved. The human body is meant for the spiritual realization, so any movement or any commissions which do not further the end commit violence on the human body. That which further the future spiritual happiness of the people in general called the non-violence. Samata, equanimity, refers to the freedom from the attachment and aversion. To be very much attached or to be very much detached is not the best. The material world should be accepted without attachment or aversion. That which is favorable for prosecuting the Krishna consciousness should be accepted. That which is unfavorable should be rejected. That is called the samanta, equanimity. A person in Krishna consciousness has nothing to reject and nothing to accept, save in terms of its usefulness in the prosecution of the Krishna consciousness. Tushti.
Satisfaction means that one should not be eager to gather more and more material goods by unnecessary activities. One should be satisfied with whatever is obtained by the grace of the Supreme Lord. That is called satisfaction. Tapas means austerity or penance. There are many rules and regulations in the Vedas which apply here, like rising early in the morning and taking a bath. Sometimes it is very troublesome to rise early in the morning, but whatever voluntary trouble one may suffer in this way is called penance. Similarly, there are prescriptions for fasting on certain days of the month. One may not be inclined to practice such fasting, but because of his determination to make advancement in the science of Krishna consciousness, he should accept such bodily troubles when they are recommended. However, one should not fast unnecessarily or against Vedic injunctions. One should not fast for some political purpose that is described in Bhagavad Gita as fasting in ignorance. And anything done in ignorance or passion does not lead to spiritual advancement. Everything done in the mode of goodness does advance one. However, and fasting done in terms of the Vedic instructions enriches one in spiritual knowledge. As far as charity is concerned, one should give 50% of his earnings to some good cause. And what is a good cause? It is that which is concluded in terms of Krishna consciousness. That is not only a good cause, but the best cause. Because Krishna is good, his cause is always good. Thus, charity should be given to a person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. According to the Vedic literature, it is enjoined that charity should be given to the Brahmans. This practice is still followed, although not very nicely in terms of the Vedic injunction, but still the injunction is that charity should be given to the Brahmins. Why? Because they are engaged in higher cultivation of spiritual knowledge. A Brahman is supposed to devote his whole life to understanding Brahma. One who knows Brahman is called Brahman. Thus, one who knows Brahman is called Brahman. Thus, charity is offered to the Brahmanas because they are always engaged in higher spiritual service and have no time to earn their livelihood. In the Vedic literature, charity is also to be awarded to one in the renounced order of life and the sannyasi. The sannyasis beg from door to door not for money but for missionary purposes. The system is that they go from door to door to awaken the householders from the slumber of ignorance. Because the householders are engaged in family affairs and have forgotten their actual purpose in life, awakening their Krishna consciousness. It is the business of the sannyasi to go as beggars to the householders and encourage them to be Krishna conscious. As it is said in the Vedas, one should awake and achieve what is due him in this human form of life. This knowledge and method is distributed by the sannyasis. Hence, charity is to be given to the renouncer of life, to the Brahmanas, and similar good causes, not to any whimsical cause. Yasas, fame, should be according to Lord Chaitanya, who said that a man is famous when he is known as great devotee. That is real time. If one has become a great man in Krishna consciousness,
Excuse me. Maybe give the next one. So it was meant that
this one.
go around the book.
And the speech? Yeah, that one.
Yes, fame should be according to Lord Chaitanya, who said that a man is famous when he is known as a great devotee. That is real fame. If one has become a great man in Krishna consciousness and it is known, then he is truly famous. One who doesn't not have such fame in famous. All these qualities are manifest throughout the universe in human society and in the society of the demigods. There are many forms of humanity on other planets, and these qualities are there. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, Krishna create all these qualities, but the person develop them himself from within. One who engages in the devotional service of Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities as arranged by the Supreme Lord. Of whatever we find, good or bad, the origin is Krishna. Nothing can manifest itself in the material worlds which is not in Krishna. That is knowledge. Although we know that things are differently situated, we should realize that everything flows from Krishna.
It was the end, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
text. Should we start?
No, I think we can stop there. And I wonder if anybody has some comments on what we have been reading, or share something, your experience or comments regarding these different. I can read also the verse again, because there are these different qualities listed. So what we heard about is intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. Was there anything that you came up in your mind when you were hearing? Yeah? Yeah, there's something. I think what I read here is freedom from doubt and delusion, but also the truth should be spoken in a straightforward way so that others will understand actually what the facts are. I think that was so nice. You tell them the truth. Even if it hurts, you have to tell them the truth. I mean, if a person is a thief, that is the truth. I mean, you have to tell him you're a thief, you know, whether he likes it or not. So I think you have to be truthful. I like that very much.
Yeah.
I believe it's so sensitive, the situation, and depends where they are, the condition they have. And
Yeah, of
sometimes
course.
we need to see if we can change something, we can help in this
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
Otherwise, just we hurt the others, it's not...
No, it's not
helping.
good, but if you are a thief and we tell you, please, you know.
I mean, I can give the example regarding this. I want to give the example that when Prabhupada was preaching, he could sometimes be very heavy. And there were incidents where he, even in front of so-called very important people, like there is a film also, when Prabhupada, he traveled and preached around the world. So sometimes they managed to film different programs that I can't remember all the details, but I know it was in France, I know it was in Paris, and I think it was in a very luxurious, old, beautiful town hall, the town hall of Paris, if I remember right. I saw the film, they filmed it when Prabhupada preached to the mayor of Paris. And Prabhupada was very cool because everybody stood up when, it must have been the mayor himself who came in, but Prabhupada remained seated because this is a tradition. A sannyasi and holy man doesn't have to raise for a mundane authority, and they were not used to that. So everybody was looking. And then Prabhupada, he took up a few very touchy points, because Prabhupada was so strong spiritually, and we can of course not, at least for me, I'm speaking for me, I cannot compare myself with Prabhupada. He was such a great devotee, he had such a strength, so he could speak tough topics and tough things, and people, because of his power of spirit, the power of and purity, he never said something to hurt somebody, but he spoke really the truth. So he could say things straightforwardly. So he was kind of telling them what they should do in order to make that it was, because they were kind of ruling the city of Paris, they should make all arrangements to make the people Krishna conscious. And what does that mean? To stop all sinful activities and so on. So he did a very heavy preaching, and like Mohinisala, very straight. But we cannot imitate that. And then, because there is one saying, it says, palatable truth should be spoken. And palatable truth doesn't mean that you compromise the truth. But you can say it, like you mentioned, one has to be a little sensitive. Sometimes you say it in a sober way or a very loving way, or you don't have to, and you cannot imitate Prabhupada. He could be very straight and heavy, and he was just so strong that people did not feel insulted, even if he would say something that could have been taken like an insult. But it was based on the scriptures, and because he was fully self-realized in full Krishna consciousness, in his case, he could say things very, very straight, without any flowery language. But one has to be a little careful sometimes. For example, if there's somebody comes who knows nothing about the Vedic scriptures and our philosophy, if you tell them that you are a low-class person because you are drinking and eating meat, I mean, you don't speak like that really when you want to attract somebody to Krishna. So one has to always judge, pray for Krishna for having intelligence to speak the truth in such a way that nobody gets hurt according to time, place, and circumstance. Okay, thank you. Was there anybody else reacted on something?
Also wonderful topic this really, and I believe the person always, Verena, tell me, you are so tough, and I be like this all the time. And after I find out...
Don't know how this works. I'm not used to this. I always forget about it.
After I find out where I meet people in different circumstances and places, and I see from where they come, sometimes we need to be more flexible. When it is some situation and we see really they hurt what they are doing, yes, for sure we need to be, to make the right decision. Yeah. Thank you.
And I think especially this point that Prabhupada stressed very much, that det är bara för vi skiftar ju till olika. That we have to make clear that to stop the sinful activities. And sinful activities is, for example, killing animals. When Prabhupada met Christians, he was always quite tough. He met some Christian priests and those who have higher position in the Christian church. And he was always coming back to this point, why do you kill the animals? It says in the Bible, thou shall not kill. So why are you killing? And then they came up this answer that they have this strange concept that human beings, we have a soul, but animals, they have no soul. And this is completely not logic, I mean, but Prabhupada would not give in. He said, no, everybody who is moving on this earth, whether it is an animal or a human being, and even the plants, everybody has a soul. Otherwise, they would not be able to live. And sometimes they agreed with him. But it was not so easy because it is a different kind of thinking. The Vedic knowledge is very deep, although it is so logic. But when people they are used to some other spiritual path, which is, not that advanced, like in this case, Christianity. Although it is said that Jesus actually, there were vegetarians, those among the followers of Jesus, and even that Jesus had been in India and learned something there. There's a gap of years in Jesus' life that nobody knows what he has been doing. And they have made research, and they have found some, I don't remember exactly the place, but even that he might have been in Jagannath Puri and learned from the Pandits. There are different researches going on, because one understands that Jesus was very special, and Prabhupada always used to say that we should respect Jesus. And
the reason why he came to us just this, not to kill anymore the animals, because they kill the animals to give to the gods.
Yeah, that was also a gross offense. Yeah, so there are different like that, but yeah. So this is Prabhupada focused very much on that. But then on the other hand, he could also be extremely encouraging even simple persons who did some simple service and were kind of a little bit drunk, came to his first preaching center. He would encourage them in whatever they did. He would not attack them with heavy instruction, which was over their capacity. Okay, is there anything more you would like to take up? Because otherwise I can go into... Yeah, because I have prepared some... I would like to speak about the 9 processes of devotional service. So all these qualities that we read about, they sound very beautiful and very, I mean, at least I can question myself, can I really live up to all of that? But this is the instruction, and we should try. And maybe we should never be discouraged if there's something which we are striving for perfection. But the way to spiritual perfection is can be long, and we should also not be discouraged and think that we have to, in an artificial way, try for it. Because as it is said here at the end of this purport, as I read before, one who engages... here, we can start there. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, Krishna creates all these qualities, but the person develops them himself from within. One who engages in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities as arranged by the Supreme Lord. So we have to have patience and determinations, and just perform our devotional service, and by Krishna's arrangement, when we are performing the service that he asks us to do, and follow the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, like for example, be vegetarian, offer our food, chanting, all the basic things, chanting japa and gathering together, chanting and hearing about Krishna, all the processes of devotional service, then these qualities and the purification will more or less automatically manifest. It might take different time for different persons, for different reasons. We have maybe different background from our past lives, even from our last reincarnation, anything. But we should always have the faith that we are making progress if we are on this path, and then we make ourselves dependent on Krishna's mercy, because without Krishna's mercy, nothing works. It's said even a blade of grass doesn't move without the will of Krishna. So I will speak now a little bit about the 9 processes of devotional service, because as this is given as advice here, or as a fact that Krishna has arranged it in such a way that we will achieve these all these good qualities by doing devotional service. So the first process of devotional service which is very important, where everything starts, is actually Shravanam. That means hearing. We hear about Krishna. I mean, all of us who came in contact with Krishna consciousness, we've heard in different ways. Huh? You who come from India, you have heard about Krishna since your birth, because you're born in the holy land of India, so to say. So in different ways, and even in the West nowadays, because Krishna consciousness has spread in the West, so many come in contact with Krishna, even if they are not able or willing to take it up, but they come in contact with Krishna, and very early, like we have at Alnvik a preacher, Mukunda. He has since decades, I don't know how many years, 30 years or more, he has been traveling around Sweden, educating in the subject of religion, at all the schools in Sweden. He has good relationship to all the teachers, and they pay him, give him some donation for it. He makes a lesson in religion and on the topic of Hinduism and Hare Krishna philosophy. So they learned from him already in their childhood, although they are Western and they are here in Sweden. But the schools are so magnanimous, they give a chance and they respect Mukunda. He's a very nice devotee. And so, this is the hearing, because then the soul will be touched. If the soul hears about Krishna and is open for it, the soul can open up for reconnecting to Krishna. And a very special example is given here, like an example of a devotee who perfected his life with hearing was Maharaj Parikshit, because he was actually the son of Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu was the son of Arjuna. From the Mahabharata we know Arjuna, the great archer who was friend of Krishna. So, and Maharaj Parikshit, he was a wonderful, pious king, but he made some mistakes. Like kings are out hunting; it is part of their duties. that they keep the dangerous animals kind of a little bit protected people from them. And then he was killing accidentally a deer, and that deer was actually some muni, some saintly person who have such a power that they can disguise themselves, they can take another body. So, and then when he did that, then this he got a curse from that saintly person in disguise of a deer, that he would have to die. And so he had only 7 days left of his life. And so what did he want to spend these 7 days with? He wanted to hear. And then he was hearing in such a way that he listened to the Srimad Bhagavatam at a gathering of saintly persons. I think it was at the Ganges. Was it at the banks of the Ganges? Yeah. So he perfected his life like 7 days uninterruptedly. He was just listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, the truth. I mean, all the knowledge about Krishna and our relationship to him. So he is an example of somebody who perfected and ended his life with just hearing about Krishna. And then there is the chanting, kirtanam. It is called in Sanskrit kirtanam, that we hear, that we chant about the Lord. And this is what you're doing here at your gatherings, and we do all over the world, in the temples and even in our homes. Ja, okej. Ja. Nu kan vi sätta den eftersom vi inte skickar runt den. Ja. And the one who reached that perfection was actually Sukadev Goswami, who at this gathering of saints spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. So his speaking of Krishna was of such a high level, and so if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, you get all the knowledge you need. But it is said that one should first study Bhagavad Gita. This is the real basis of knowledge about Krishna, and then go to Srimad Bhagavatam, because that is into many details. And Bhagavatam has so many fantastic stories about so many great devotees. And then there is Vishnu Smaranam, and that is remembering the Lord. And the first class example of somebody who always remembered the Lord is Prahlad Maharaj. And I guess you know all the story of Prahlad Maharaj, who his father wanted to kill him. He was a demon, and Prahlad Maharaj by birth he was a devotee. And during all these attempts, when he wanted to kill him, it was hopeless, because Prahlad Maharaj never forgot Krishna and he had full faith in Krishna. So by remembering Krishna, Krishna gave him full protection. And that is the greatest example of somebody who perfected his life by remembering and never forgetting Krishna. It was Prahlad Maharaj. And then there is serving the lotus feet of the Lord, Padasevanam. That is the fourth process of devotional service. That is, as example given, that Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, you see sometimes pictures where Krishna in his Vishnu form, he is laying down on the bed of Anantashesha, this transcendental snake, so to say. And there is a beautiful, his partner Lakshmi massaging his feet. So she is always engaging in that. And also other things, they say that in these realms where Krishna is present in his Vishnu form, there is no dirt like in the material world, but they are constantly serving. Even if everything is completely clean there, the Lakshmis or goddesses of fortune, they are always cleaning for Krishna. So, and then the fifth process of devotional service is Arshanam, which is deity worship. And there is an example from the Bhagavatam, Maharaj Prithu, and this is a long, long time ago. I'm very bad in remembering numbers, but you know, we have these 4 yugas, and every yuga has a certain time span. And Satya Yuga was the first of our 4 yugas here. And so it is a long, long time ago. I don't know how many. I don't want to guess, but you can find it somewhere in our scriptures. But I always forget the numbers. But it is enormously long time ago. And he was a wonderful king. Actually, he was the emperor of the world at some point, and the people were very happy under his rule. It was Satya Yuga, where everything was just, life was very wonderful on the earth planet, because he was fully Krishna conscious, and he was having such a rule that everything became auspicious for everybody. Nobody was suffering. There was everything in abundance. They even had no agriculture, but at the end of his reign, it is said he started arranging for agriculture, but they had everything in abundance. All the trees gave fruits and everything was growing, and cows gave lots of milk. There was gold in abundance. And he was perfecting in deity worship, because everything was so in abundance on the earth under his reign at that time in Satya Yuga. They could offer so much to the deities, and they offered to the deities on golden plates. That deity worship was the highest. I mean, and we could never live up to that now. And it is not the process either. Our process, according to scriptures, is that we should chant Hare Krishna together and also individually with japa. The chanting of Hare Krishna is our path to perfection, and from that chanting, all our qualities and the purification of our consciousness will come. But Prithu Maharaj is the perfect example of, he had gorgeous, huge arrangements for deity worship, and everybody was very happy with that under his reign, and they had everything supplied. And then there is a sixth process of service to Krishna, that is praying, that is vandanam in Sanskrit. And there a person who was kind of perfecting his life by offering beautiful prayers to Krishna is Akrura. And Akrura was actually an uncle of Krishna. And he was traveling to Vrindavan in order to see Krishna, and he was actually a minister at Kamsa's court, and Kamsa was the enemy of Krishna actually. I mean, he wanted to kill Krishna because he was so...
He was the uncle of Krishna.
Kamsa also, but Akrura was also related to Krishna. Not. Did I take wrong? But he was in some relationship, in some family relationship. Okay.
From Nanda Maharaj.
So he was uncle, but from the other side. Yeah. I was saying, yeah, that's right. Yeah, maternal. Yes, sorry. So we have cleared. Yeah, it was uncle, but the maternal side. Yeah. But he offered beautiful praise, and it's quite famous. There is a picture depicted sometimes when Akrura sees the footprints of Krishna in the sand of Vrindavan. And he gets so ecstatic, and then he is offering wonderful prayers to Krishna. He was so attached to Krishna, a great devotee of him. And then the seventh process listed is dasyam, and that means actually serving or executing orders. And can anybody guess who could be that? Who could perfect his life as a servant of Krishna? Very famous person. Very special. Actually not a human. A little special. It is Hanuman. Hanuman from Lord Ramachandra's. Yeah, because he was always so eager to serve Lord Ramachandra. I mean, he was doing incredible feats, flying to Lanka. He had such a body, this and that power, and daring to go to Lanka, where this demon Ravana was residing, to free Sita and putting everything on fire. He was doing incredible feats, and he was totally surrendered to. It's always this gesture of he's sitting at the feet of Ramachandra. So
that's in another era.
It's not in the same when Krishna was there. It's when Ram got.
Yeah, this is longer ago. I'm not sure what yuga. That is Treta Yuga, right? Yeah. Ram's pastimes is in Treta Yuga. Yeah, right. Thank you. So, and then number 8 is Sakyam. And Saka is like the word, it means like a friend. And Sakyam is serving as a friend. And can somebody guess who could that be? Who was a very dear friend of Krishna?
Arjuna.
Yes, because he was speaking the Gita to him, and actually even Krishna, he served Arjuna by being his charioteer. So they had a very close relationship, and he had this perfection between Krishna. And when Krishna actually left the planet, then Arjuna was completely devastated. He didn't want to be here anymore. He even lost his power of archery, and he lost all his, like, as long as Krishna was present, everything, like he had all his powers, the special powers of being the greatest archer and being such a strong. But when Krishna left, not only Arjuna but all the Pandavas, they just wanted to leave because they could not stay here without Krishna. That's what was Krishna's plan. And then the 9th process is complete surrender, and that is Atmanivedanam in Sanskrit. And there is Bali Maharaj, that example of that is Bali Maharaj, and this is also a very special story from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bali Maharaj actually was had defeated all the demigods in this universe, and he kind of he was very powerful. So he was kind of ruling, and but then came to him a little Brahmana dwarf, and that Brahmana dwarf asked him for that he wanted to have, what do you say, like a donation or for a favor. And the guru of Bali Maharaj warned him. He said, this is not a normal Brahmana. This is probably Vishnu in disguise. But Bali Maharaj didn't care. He said, oh yes, I will offer you, what do you want? And then he said 3 steps of land. And if we take 3 steps, we don't get much. Huh? I mean, we could barely cross this yard with 3 steps. But Bali Maharaj, all of a sudden, also he was very small, like what we call dwarfs. There are some people like that who don't get really tall. He all of a sudden, he just grew and grew to enormous size, so that he could take 3 steps and cover the whole universe. No, with 2 steps he covered the whole universe. And then he asked, where should I put my, you granted me 3 steps, where should I put my 3rd step? And then Bali Maharaj, he said that you can put them on my head, or you can put it on my head. So, and that means if you would bow down and somebody step on, like say I put my foot on somebody's head, this is like a real surrender. You don't do that just like that. This is like a real sign of surrender, right? You let somebody step on your head. So,
it's not a surrender, it's overpower.
Sorry?
It's not the surrender, it's overpower.
Overpower.
Surrender means submission.
Yeah.
But here somebody put the foot on the head.
Yeah.
It's overpower.
But it was a voluntary submission, right? It was not that under threat or with some weapon in hand, but it was like a surrender. There is a difference between surrender or being overpowered. If you're overpowered by violence or out of your own willing. Yeah. So that was. So he is the example of that. He reached perfection like that. So so these processes we can all, in our daily life, like we are not like these personalities in the Bhagavatam, but it is said that we can follow in the footsteps and we can have it as inspiration, because these qualities which are listed here, they are something like a guideline for us. You know what we have to do some inner work. And sometimes there can come some occasions in our life where we are tested. For example, do we give forgiveness if somebody asks us for forgiveness? Or are we making a grudge the rest of our life? Or we never, we create big enmity? Or, I mean, all kinds of things can happen in our life. We don't know what kind of test. And sometimes these tests are by our karma, and sometimes these tests are also if we have turned to Krishna and purify ourselves, trying to be his devotees and serve him, then he might give a special test where all these qualities are tested. Do we manage to to surrender to a purification process, and having the tolerance and the humility and all these qualities, that these 9 personalities we could see? Would we bow down and let Vishnu or Krishna step on our head? Would we do that? Because this is, or sometimes like one friend of mine at Almvik, who we sometimes have a little philosophical talks, and then he always comes back to that we say, okay, we serve Krishna, but sometimes it seems like, oh, how can we personally serve Krishna? And then he used to say, we serve Krishna by serving the devotees. And he's personally very eager to serve the devotees. He does all kind of menial service on Almvik. Like when our sewages are blocked up, he will clean them for us. This is a quite mean, dirty job. But he is really not just saying it, but he is practicing it. He finds that to serve the devotees in different ways, this is like, it's a perfection of life, actually. And the service can be of so many kinds, and Krishna can put us in such situation that we are needed for some service. And I just read recently that those Prabhupada disciples who speak about their experiences as Prabhupada when he started the movement, that Prabhupada was very willing to give responsibility from the beginning, because most were not so qualified to do everything that was needed to do to start such a mission in the West. But Prabhupada, he just let them do it. So sometimes we should also not have so much fear and just dare to do. And when we are a little humble and a little surrendered, these tasks that we think are very difficult to do in devotional service, they might turn out to be very ecstatic, and we actually manage to do them because Krishna will help us and Krishna will send others to help us. So this has been proven in many situations. That, like, and the best example is Prabhupada himself. Nobody believed it would turn out like that. They thought he would die on this boat on the way to America, or nobody would like to listen to him. Who could imagine in such a fallen city as New York somebody would take the path of bhakti seriously? So, and I think we are still in a similar situation, not that we are like Prabhupada, but we are in a similar situation, and I think we should take these examples, like we should have this boldness of Prabhupada and this positive attitude that don't give up, even if it seems like there are always souls searching for Krishna. And if we give Krishna consciousness to them, it is wonderful, and Krishna will reciprocate with us. He will give us spiritual strength, and he will reward us. So our path back to Godhead is for sure, or our, what to say, it is, we are granted this, that we will enter the spiritual world sooner or later. So I don't know if there's anything more you would like to, that you have been contemplating on while we have been reading and speaking, and please don't hesitate to take it up. Har tiden gått ut, Mohini? Tror du ungefär?
Tiden går aldrig ut när vi
Nej. Jag bara tänkte, jag vill hålla mig inom en tidsram.
But it was a very wonderful lecture, you know.
Oh, this was very simple. Yeah, what I'm.
all these people that you talk about. And
Yeah, and because this is somehow we have to have some, just like they have these, I remember from my youth, and still today, they have all these, which is very prominent nowadays, all these rock stars, or these musicians famous over the whole world. They are kind of the idols, or maybe the film stars. So we have something to follow. But these are the idols for Krishna consciousness, so to say. We have a different, because they perform. And this is actually, speaking about musicians, Prabhupada was very, this George Harrison, who from the Beatles, who donated the Bhaktivedanta Manor to Prabhupada because they were rich. There's this pop band like in the 60s and 70s, the Beatles, they were very famous, this musical group from England. And when Prabhupada heard that, especially this George Harrison, he actually took up Krishna consciousness, he started to chant. And then sometimes he was speaking to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, should I not do something else? I should give up my whole musical career. And Prabhupada said, no, because they admire you in the world because you're doing this music. So if you make, if you put an example of, you make Krishna consciousness famous. And then he made these songs with, he produced Hare Krishna records, and he put devotional texts in his songs. And in all the newspapers in the world said, oh, George Harrison is chanting Hare Krishna and is enthusiastic about he is going this path of Krishna consciousness. Then all his fans, they became attracted, and they also took up chanting, and they visited temples and so Prabhupada, he was always, he knew according to time and circumstance what to do. So yeah, this is a very nice example also. That somebody, and he was surrendered to Prabhupada, so he was actually prepared to give up his career. If Prabhupada would have said, yes, you can move into the temple, you can do the dishes and become initiated and learn some other devotional service. But no, Prabhupada said, you make your music, and that in that way you will spread. So how we spread Krishna consciousness can be so different, and Prabhupada was actually very innovative, and I think there is a discussion in our ISKCON movement many times going on, very at present, on many occasions. They are discussing what did Prabhupada want us to do? What are all the important rules and maybe not so important rules? Could we change something? If we change something, do we change the process of Krishna consciousness? For example, some devotees in our movement say that we could have Western clothes, like me. I'm sitting here and trying to preach a little and or reading the scriptures, but at present I don't feel like always wearing the sari. It is difficult with my legs, the sari gets entangled in my rollator, and like this. I feel more comfortable like this, and I feel it doesn't destroy my taste for Krishna and my Krishna consciousness. So there is some group in our movement, and some spiritual masters also who are initiating. They say that we call it Krishna West, that we Westerners maybe we don't have to, like Prabhupada said they should wear sari and dhoti, but he didn't say it at all circumstances. So, but now Prabhupada is not there, we cannot ask him anymore, and time has passed. So sometimes the time factor, it is said that Krishna is also time, so the time factor can change things by experience. Prabhupada was with us only 11 years, and it's not so long. So, and maybe now it is many years ago since he left, so maybe circumstances and preaching situation have also changed, and therefore sometimes it is a delicate question. We should not go away from the tradition and the real important basics of performing Bhakti Yoga, but maybe some practical things have to be maybe sometimes molded according to time and circumstance, which are okay. So I'm just giving a hint that sometimes we have some internal discussions. in our movement. But I want to thank you so much for letting me come. And again, I want to thank you. I think I mentioned last time also that I really appreciate your efforts to keep up the program, letting us come to your home, and also that you are a small group. But I'm so happy to see that you meet, and I wish you all blessings and all good luck in the future, that you somehow can keep up this tradition in Malmö of coming together. And I hope Krishna will be merciful and give you a nice place, that you don't get so burdened to have it only in your home. It is nice to have it in the home, but if it's like for bigger festivals and things, it can be troublesome. So yeah, I wish you all good luck. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
And really, I want to thank Ravi and Sukriti and Pinky. They are doing wonderful, wonderful. Just we are sitting and we have this beautiful conversation, and she is cooking all the time. And for me, I want to be here, the next and the same time. I want to help her too. Yeah, thank you, really, thank you.
Yeah, Krishna will be so pleased. This is your service. And you can be sure Krishna recognizes that. Because Krishna knows everything. Sometimes we forget, but Krishna never forgets. And he knows everything. So whenever somebody gives them their devotion in some service, like for example, cooking is extremely important. And like sometimes they call us the kitchen movement. Right? Or something like that. Because always prasadam, and prasadam is so powerful. Yeah.
That's why it's called Devi Annapurna.
Sorry?
It's called Devi Annapurna.
Devi?
Annapurna, who prepares the food.
Aha, Purna.
Devi Annapurna.
Okay. So Devi means?
Goddesses.
Okay, and
who prepare the food. That is, food means anna. So that's why it's called Devi Annapurna.
Okay. And Purna, what is in that connection, Purna?
When you eat, that is a food. That is, in Sanskrit, it's called anna.
Yeah, Anna, I understand. But Purna, Anna and Purna?
Anna, and she prepare it.
Yeah.
So Annapurna.
Okay.
Purna
Yeah.
is like the complete.
Now they will have a small kirtan and Gaurarati.
Yes, okay.
Shall we begin with Gaurarati? Or the kirtan first?
I think so. We can go for the Gaurarati.
Yeah. Maybe Ashta-Siddhi can lead it, and then Emma can...
Yeah, I can after.
Okay.
Ska du hålla själv? Du behöver inte spela, eller?
Ja, jag kan ha boken här också. Ja. Jag måste bara dricka lite mer. Jag ska ha den här grejen igen.
Ja, du har ju den på dig, eller?
Eller har jag? Jag är så ovan vid det och jag tycker det där är så jobbigt. Okej, där sitter den. Okej, det gör ingenting. Jag har lite svårt för alla de här tekniska grejerna. Okej. Ska vi vänta på någon?
Ska vi vänta dem?
Ja, precis. Mm.
You want to have a book for Gaurarti?
The text? We have some more here if somebody wants.
Selina, vill du ha? Nej.
Okay. Would you like to have the text, the book, for the song?
Sidan 26.
Yeah, okay. And you can take this one. This little falling apart. So.
Vänta tills... Eller? Emma ska komma.
Okej, är hon på toa eller? Okej. Tog Emma vägen? Jag tror hon är på toa. Ska vi sätta igång? Ja, okej. Are you ready with the camera installation? I'm not so used to all these technical things, but okay. Do you make the puja? So I just start now then, yeah. Kiba Jayo Gora Chande Arotika Shopa Kiba Jayo Gora Chande Arotika Shopa Janavitata-vane Jagamanolopa Janavitata-vane Jagamanolopa Gorange Aroti Sopa Jaga Janamanolopa 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 Dakinanitai Chan Bame Gadadara Dakinanitai Chan Bame Gadadara Nikate Advaita Shrini Vakta Shatradara Nikate Advaita Shrini Vakta Shatradara Bosiya Gora Chan Ratna Simmasane Bosiya Gora Chan Ratna Simmasane Arati Korena Brahma Adi Devagane Arati Korena Brahma Adi Devagane Naradi Adi Kori Chamaradulaya Naradi Adi Kori Chamaradulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Gosharigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Gosharigaya Sanka Bache Ganta Bache Bache Karatala 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 Madhura mridanga baje, baje paramarasala. Madhura mridanga baje, paramarasala. Kanka baje, ganta baje, Vadana ujvala, bahu koti chandra-jini. Vadana ujvala, bahu koti chandra-jini. Vadana ujvala, bahu koti chandra-jini. Vadana ujvala, Gala deshe banamala, Kore jalamala. Gala deshe banamala, Kore jalamala. Shiva Sukhanarada, Preme Gada Gada. Shiva Sukhanarada, Preme Gada Gada. Pakati Vinoda Deke, Gora Rasampada. Pakati Vinoda Deke, Gora Rasampada. Kiba Jaya Jaya Gora Chande, Arotik Sopa. Kiba Jaya Jaya Gora Chande, Arotik Sopa. Jana Vitata Vane, Jagamanolopa. Jana Vitata Vane, Jagamanolopa. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Gandavikya Giridhari Gandavikya Giridhari Gandavikya Giridhari Gandavikya Giridhari Giridhari Gandavikya Giridhari Gandavikya Giridhari Gandavikya Giridhari Ska vi ta Nishingali prayer? Det var det. Ja. Ja.
Secretly. But we will wait so I can offer offering
Okay.
at the same time. Okay. Wait, secretly. Så man offrar när man sjunger.
Ni brukar ha det
Eller
så.
så kan man sjunga Hare Krishna efteråt if I'm not ready for it. Yeah. So you can begin. But we all sit down when we sing.
Nishingali prayers is tradition, yeah. I cannot sit on floor, but we have to sit somehow. Så var det Emma som skulle sjunga? Eller?
Nej, det är Sukriti, det är dottern.
Sukriti sjunga? Oj, okej. Ja. Namaste Narasimhaya La 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 da daine Nyakashi Purvakshaha Atonissimo, paratonissimo. Yato, yato, yamitatonissimo. Pahenissimo, ridayenissimo. Nishingamading saranam prapade. Tavakara kamalavare nakama butta singam dalita hiranyakashipu tano bringam keshavadrita narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare. Tavakara Krishna Hare Nakam Abutta Singam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tano Bringam Keshavadrita Narari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nishimhadev, Jaya Nishimhadev, Jaya Nishimhadev, Jaya Nishimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Nej, du ska inte säga, jag ska säga att hon kan.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai. Så, okej. Kommer du in där?
Du, vill du göra en tjänst? Jag ska bara...
Some donation to the preaching preacher, and also there are some other expenses we will utilize for it. So request you to give a small donation. Thank you. So the donation switch number is 123268671 and bank 0524143. Hare Krishna.